Last year I installed a smart sprinkler system in my house. Now, I didn't do the whole lawn because I wanted to see if there was a big difference between the old system and the new system and see if it was really more efficient than the other. I went ahead and pulled water bills from July and August from the last few seasons so I could take a look at it. I'm going to tell you everything that I saw, and let's decide if this is a good fit for most of you out there with lawns. So before we get into the mechanics of everything and how this thing saved me water, I actually want to share with you the water savings. I have a printout of the last number of years for all my water usage here at my house. And I'm gonna give you a little history and the usage that was there. The previous lawn, before I changed my entire landscape, was pretty small. It was actually only about 1,500 square feet. And through the hottest months of the year here, I watered 40,000 gallons. Now that's with 4 people living in the house. That's 2 months, total of 20,000 gallons per month in July and August. That was all the way back in 2018. 2019, it actually was a little bit less. We had a little wetter year, but 30,000, still 4 people in the house. That's what that was. Going into 2020, same lawn, 28,000 gallons for the same time. Into 2021, which is the last year I had that lawn, 32,000 gallons. So there's kind of we can kind of find a balance there of what was being taken up. Now, here's where things got a little different. In 2022, there were now 6 people living in the house, and that number jumped up to 53,000 gallons on this entire 5,000 square feet. So that was pushing the lawn the first season through 53,000 gallons over those 2 months. And actually, I think if I break it down, that doesn't really sound like a whole lot. I mean, if you figure 26,500 gallons between a family of 6 plus watering 5,000 square feet and shrubs and everything else, that's not a ton. Well, last year, 35,160 gallons. Same amount of people, same lawn, shaved off 20,000 gallons over the course of those 2 months. And I didn't audit the entire summer. Dramatic savings with just those 3 heads on the lawn. That is massive. And it was considerably more than I thought. But just out of those 2 months, about a 40% reduction in water and no reduction in the quality of the turf. That's pretty phenomenal. So let's run through some of the basics on this thing first so I can just sort of fill you in. Now, my lawn is 5,000 square feet. I have it segmented into different areas. I have a golf green on one section that is now running on 1 of these sprinklers. Originally it was running on 2, but I found that I could actually cover the whole thing with 1. The main lawn area is currently covered with 1, but is going to get 2 more of these this year. I guess that's a little bit of a clue on how I feel about this thing. I was running a 9-station lawn area with a standard system, an Orbit controller, a smart controller, which is just fine. I was running about 5 to 6 heads per station, good head-to-head coverage, running a combination between rotor heads, MP rotors, spray heads, depending on the area. Because I have a lot of wind up here, I had to make certain adjustments just for that. Now for me, I try to conserve as much water as possible, so I wanted a very efficient system when I started. It was plain to see very easily that I was getting a lot of overspray into beds, onto the garage, over the fence, just in areas where I couldn't really keep track. And there wasn't really a solution to that in my mind. Now, a friend of mine a couple years ago installed these at his house, told me all about it, thought it would be a really great fit for me, and I thought, yes, this is something I'm gonna do. So 2 years ago, I started looking into it. Last year, I put the system into play. So again, what I did is I put my entire golf green on 2 heads and then 1 large area of the lawn on 1 head. Now, by themselves, these can cover more than 2,000 square feet with 1 head. And if you take a look at the way the nozzles are designed, it's a bunch of different sizes that adjust the spray so you can get bigger distance, higher volume out further, but you get very even watering all throughout the lawn. Now, I'm only focusing on these particular Irrigreens right now because I haven't tested the Auto or some of the other ones out there, but since these guys have been around, I would say the longest at this point, it seems to be the most logical unit to go to because it is a permanent installation. So if you're starting from scratch, one of the coolest things about this system is the install is a breeze. It's 1 main line and you install your sprinklers off that without running branches all over the place. So it makes things very, very simple. One trench to do everything. Now, if you have an existing system and you're adapting, like I did, it's a little bit different, a couple extra steps involved. You can decide whether or not you want to cancel out your old system. I didn't. I just used existing valve heads and the branch lines that came off of that, and it works just fine. So there's a couple of different ways that you can install the system. Now, the big thing about them is the water savings. And there's a couple of different ways to look at that. Now, the streams on these are extremely heavy, and honestly, they work more like a center pivot in agriculture, where you see those big things going around in a field. That's more what this is. It's like a center pivot for your lawn. So you're getting a heavy dose of water that's moving very slow across the lawn, and it goes around just nice and even, adjusting its throw pattern as it goes so it doesn't send anything out onto sidewalks or driveways or houses or anything else that doesn't need water. So your water savings is coming more from this adjustment in the distance, not losing anything that doesn't need to be watered. So that's where you get the biggest benefit. Now, what I did notice is this. I felt as though the sprinklers watered deeper than what my other ones would do. Now, there's a lot of research that goes into water droplet size and spray patterns and all of these different things in irrigation development. And this is a little different. It's a very heavy pattern. So it may seem as though you're going to get pooling or you're going to have issues like that. And maybe that's the case at first. As your soil starts to open up to the water, then it goes right down, no problem. But for every single rotation you get on this, you're getting about 0.05 inches of water in a very even pattern around the lawn. So back to the original question, are these worth it? You're gonna pay for this system, but honestly, by the time it's all said and done, it's not a ton more than if you were gonna go through all the hassle of putting in a standard system anyway. And right now, they're offering $500 off the system, so if you follow the link down below, you can get that. But like I said, I'm adding these in to complete the rest of the system. That's gonna cut my water bill even lower. My neighbor's going to be putting one in. He saw how well everything worked this year. There's more and more people that are getting excited about this. In fact, when I called my water company to say, send me the history, I told them why they want more information on this too. I have a feeling my neighborhood is gonna be doing a switch over. So if you're like me and you're paying for water, you're not on a well, obviously this is a no-brainer. If you're on a well or you've got something else going on and you've got free water, it may be less of a concern to you. Just depends on if you're of a conservation mindset or not. So again, follow the link below. If you want to learn more about this, you can check it out. It's down in the description. I urge you to look at it. There's just a limited time on the offer that they're doing. They sent me an email about a special about it, so I wanted to share it with you. Think about it, but there's the proof for you. I'll talk to y'all real soon. See ya.
Start it up.